What's up, everybody? Jeff Moores, Think International. I'm here with Andy Gabruch from Next Generation Ministries in Canada. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about you, Jeff?
Incredible. Glad to be here with you guys at Elevate Conference.
The following content is brought to you by Elevate Conference, a children's, preteen, and family ministry leadership conference from Next Gen Ministries. Go to elevateconference.ca/think to get access to free leadership videos and resources.
Now, one of the things that you get to do as, the director of Next Generation Ministries is you really get to meet with a lot of youth pastors, chat with them, see what's going on. What is happening with youth ministries in Canada right now?
Yeah, so in BC and the Yukon, I oversee 205 churches, 110 youth pastors, and about 600 leaders. And so the pulse on youth ministry in Canada is to simply meet needs where kids are at, where they're at. And so the whole Christianese thing doesn't really work in Canada as much as it used to, but to meet people's needs where they're at, it goes a long way. So some ways that we try to do that is try to meet practical needs on campus, try to be where kids are at when it's with their families or where they're at in their relationships or where they're at in purpose. That's one thing that we really want to share. And someone that's always taught me is you want to give kids a better yes before they say no to something. And so the gospel is a great yes. So we just want to practically bring the gospel out in fun, practical ways.
In recent years, actually, I guess you'd say in past years, in order to define a successful youth ministry, for a long time it was numbers. It was how big was your youth ministry, what's going on, and that really isn't the case so much anymore. So what would you say is a successful youth ministry in Canada? What does it look like? Or I just even say globally, what do you think it looks like?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. To be honest with you, I think it's building disciples. Disciples building and making more disciples. And so do they love Jesus? Do they read their Bible? Are they praying? Are they baptized? Are they spirit-filled? Are they willing to go to their schools and campuses to reach out to their friends who know Jesus? And if we look through the New Testament church, the gospel wasn't really proclaimed through programs or through organizations. It was through people.
That's true.
And people are one of the greatest, I think, God's greatest plan to bring the gospel to people who don't know Jesus.
Yeah.
And so a successful youth ministry would be people that are making disciples. So that's creating opportunities for them to encounter God. That's giving them practical resources and discipleship avenues to live out their faith in real day life, not just on a program on a Tuesday night or eating pizza on a Friday night. And it's also serving in your campus or serving in a local church or throughout the world through short-term missions tends to be some of the pulses that we see here in Canada. But that's probably one of the biggest things that we're trying to do is make disciples and to assess that well.
That's so good. Right now, being connected to so many youth pastors, what would you say are some of the biggest needs for youth pastors right now in general?
Yeah, another great question, man. I think that youth pastors really just want to make sure that they're doing life together. And a thing that's been on my heart is the Philippians chapter 1, verse 5. It says, partnership of the gospel. And Paul is saying this to be thankful for a great church called Philippi. And that word partnership means koinonia, it means fellowship. It means doing life together. So actually, Paul is saying, hey, we're called to do mission as a family. And so I think some of the things that youth pastors need the most is just simple relationship. Does someone care for me? Is someone encouraging me? Is someone mentoring me? Is someone asking those tough questions that I need to hear, but in a safe place that we're able to grow? I also think that youth pastors, especially in our context, is we have a lot of bivocational or a lot of lay leaders that work, and so they're crying out for great resources, and not just resources. Let's say, hey, go to the ... blah blah blah.com and everything's there for you. It's actually contextualized resources. So it's kind of interesting because that only happens through relationship. So if someone's like, oh, I want to get on my campus, for example, I don't know how to do that, we would go in and say, hey, here's some practical ways or 20 ways of how to get in a campus. If someone's asking like, hey, we want to start a program where we want it to be the best place in our city on a Tuesday night here at the local church, how do we do that? And so we would work with them to assess what that would look like. But really what we try to offer is just opportunities for people to build relationship, and that we would at the same time allow them to be challenged and encouraged and empowered through relationships and through networks that really stems through the resources. So I know that's a simple answer, but really the pulse of youth pastors, whether it's full-time, part-time, or bivocational, or whether it's lay leaders, is simply through relationship, and everything kind of flows out of that. So if I can say one thing, great ministry flows out of great relationship.
That's good, because a lot of times in youth ministry, youth pastors and just pastors in general, they kind of get siloed into their own thing, and they can really glean so much from each other. Now, you guys do a conference here in Canada for youth and young adults called Historymaker. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What's coming up? What's going to be happening?
Yeah, so Historymaker is an annual conference that we do, and it's simply an opportunity for teens and students and leaders alike to encounter God so that they be encouraged, empowered, and equipped to reach their friends for Christ. And so that's really the whole pulse behind Historymaker. This year we're expecting 2,000 students to come, and each ticket that they buy is very mission focused. And so $5 of each ticket goes to start a new youth ministry in our province. We want to raise $40,000 to have a campus pastor in every school. We want to start that program. We want to try to resource people that don't have resources and just say, hey, if you have a dream or you want to do something in your local context, we want to get behind you and try to raise money and awareness to get there as well. And we want to partner with giving teens an opportunity to serve. And so whether it's short-term missions around our province or around Canada or the world, or whether it's simply to go to give some money to a local organization or somewhere else to just be Jesus, that's kind of what we kind of want to do through Historymaker. It's catalytic, it's a launching pad for teens to be who God's called them to be, and to resource that vision to reach the 1.2 million people that represent our province. There is the next generation in the next 10 years. And so this is our first year, so appreciate your prayers, Jeff.
Yeah, of course, you bet. So how can people get connected to Historymaker Conference? How can they go? Where's the information?
Historymaker.ca is totally cool. So everything there is great, and it has all the details on the venue, on our roster, our mission, our vision, how to get involved as a volunteer, as a student, the resources that we give outside. And we want to let people know too that Historymaker is more than a conference. It's a lifelong journey to being the person that God's called you to be.
And how can people get connected with Next Generation Ministries?
Yeah, so we just flow through everything called it nextgenbc.ca, and so everything is there, and it's all for resourcing, mentoring, leadership podcasts, leadership stuff that's contextualized to the Canadian culture that we live in. And if people feel like they have a call of God in their life and they're getting whispers from God, then we want to simply resource that and plan into flame the call of God in their life as leaders.
And if they want to connect to you, do you have a Twitter, Instagram, email, something, man?
Yeah, that's all of it. Just Google me, man. No, it's Andy_Gabruch for Twitter, agabruch at bc.paoc.org for email, and everything is there. andygabruch.ca for a website. So yeah, that's great stuff. If people want to hang out and connect over sushi or wings.
Awesome. Andy, thanks so much. I appreciate it. There you go. Next Generation Ministries, Elevate Conference, Think International. We're out.
So thanks so much for checking out this video. Check out all the links and info talked about in the YouTube description, and make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay connected with Think International for more leadership videos to help you grow your leadership and creativity. Keep crushing it.